Welcome back to Awful Stories. It's Matt here, and make sure to drop a like and subscribe to not miss your daily fix on Reddit stories. Let's jump into our first post in the confession subreddit. The post is titled, I sucker punched a fat kid in a changing room because he was being annoying. For context, I go to swimming practice 3 times a week in order to fix my horrible posture. I just swim for about 45 minutes and then go change into my regular clothes. I change inside a stall because I am not comfortable changing outside one. One day, as usual, I got my clothes from my locker and went into the stall to change. While I was changing, I heard two voices talking. They sounded about 14 each. I did not mind and continued changing. After I changed, I was ready to head out, but then I could not open the door. I realized that one of the kids who had been talking was leaning on my door, and I could not open it due to his weight. I asked him to move, but he refused and told me to shut up and wait for him to be done talking to his friend. I asked him again, telling him that I was in a rush. He refused once again. After that, I was enraged, and I decided to scream at him to open the door, and he did. The kid was really rude about it and asked me, "Why can't your dumbass wait for a bit?" I was already pretty mad from the whole door thing, so I punched that kid in the face really hard and walked home. Edit. I just realized what a sucker punch is. I thought that meant a punch that is strong, like a strong uppercut, but it is not. I am a big guy, so my punches must hurt. It was a quick punch out of rage, not a pre planned thing. That comment basically broke the last straw in me. The words in this post are not as bad as the ones actually said. I do not want trouble here, so I toned them down. Diesel said, probably a bit of an overreaction. However, people have become a little too comfortable with inconveniencing others without consequence. Essentially, the kid was bullying you, and he found out. Good on you for trying to do something about your posture. The Lord's Chip said, a lack of consequences is why there are so many assholes in this world. I am sure he will think twice before trying that again. To this excitement, Tricky said, yep, I taught my 7 year old that sometimes people have to learn the hard way. There was a neighbor's kid who was punching my son daily. I told him if the kid did not stop, he would probably have to hit him back. The next day, the same thing happened. Only my son punched him so hard he broke the kid's glasses and made him cry. The crazy part is that the mother would watch her son and my son get off the bus. She saw her son punching mine and never said a word, never even got out of the car. The day my son punched her son back, she got out of the car so fast. Long story short, he never hit my son again and was kicked off the bus for hitting other kids. But not mine, not after that. The second story for today takes place in the relationship subreddit, titled, I have been living with my spouse's severe contamination OCD for 5 years. I'm burnt out. My wife, 33F, has severe contamination OCD that began during COVID in 2020 when she was pregnant with our daughter. What started as understandable fear never resolved and has progressively worsened over 5 years. We have lived in our new home for 3 years, and OCD fully controls daily life inside it. If we go out as a family and return home together, I am not allowed inside until she showers. I regularly sit in the garage for 2 to 2.5 hours while she and our daughter shower. Showering rituals are extensive, towels are avoided, and water drips through floors and closets. Door handles and cabinet finishes are damaged from constant wiping. Our daughter has never walked freely inside the house. Excessive wiping has also destroyed multiple phones over the past few years. Our marriage has been deeply affected. We argue frequently due to OCD related rules and accommodations. For the past year and a half, we have slept in the living room, with me on one couch and my wife and daughter on another. Previously, entering the bedroom required 2 to 2.5 hours of showering first. Intimacy is essentially non existent. We are also socially isolated. We have not had a guest in our home in over 2.5 years. In the past, when guests did visit, extensive cleaning afterward was required, leaving me physically exhausted. Groceries cannot enter the house directly and must be wiped or washed. I now do one large grocery run per month and clean everything myself while my wife goes to her mom's house. One of the hardest things for me to understand is that much of this does not happen at her parents' house. When we stay with my in laws, her symptoms are significantly reduced. Showering still occurs but lasts about 10 minutes instead of hours, with far fewer rules and much less distress. When we return home, it is like a switch flips. I know she is suffering, but I'm emotionally drained, burned out, and starting to lose interest in life. I do not feel relaxed or safe in my own home. OP sounds like a man who's basically become a hostage in his own house, but is still expected to accommodate 24/7. It's not quirky cleanliness anymore. It's a full blown dictatorship where basic shit like walking, sleeping in your own bed, or coming inside after an outing now costs hours of rituals and emotional whiplash. What really stings is that the rules magically loosen at her parents' place. That tells OP exactly what he already feels. Their home, their marriage, and his sanity are the ones being sacrificed, while another environment gets a pass. At this point, it's not just her suffering, it's him and their kid living in a permanent emergency state. Blue Mango said, maybe she needs to stay at her parents' while she begins therapy. You and your daughter can stay at your house and provide your daughter some normalcy. This sounds so difficult and exhausting. To this, OP said, Due to some family dynamics, she is at her parents' with our daughter. Over there, they both get to relax and not worry about things at all. It is about 98% better. All she worries about there is showering at night before going to bed, and it takes 10 to 15 minutes at most. Other than that, it is all normal routine. Our daughter gets to roam around freely and play. My in laws can come in and out, and no one is forced to behave in certain ways. None of the usual problems are present. This third and final story takes us to the relationship advice subreddit titled, How Can I Reject Someone I Have Already Rejected? I, 22F, am trying to reject my neighbor, 59M. Around a year ago, my neighbor approached me and asked if I would like to go to the cinema with him. I politely said no, and I thought that was the end of it. The next day, he came to the door and asked me again. I said no. He then posted a letter through my letterbox asking again, and I ignored it. At this point, he came to the door again to make sure I knew he would pay, and I said, No, I am okay. By this point, I was freaked out. For some context, I have anxiety, and I have known this neighbor since I was 12, but only through brief conversations, so I decided to tell my mom. When she found out, she told me not to answer the door and that she would deal with him. He knocked on the door again at 7 a.m. the next morning, and my mom told him he was a creep and to back off. Since then, he has not really spoken to me except for a wave in passing, until yesterday, when he approached me and asked again. He said he knows my mom thinks he is a creep, but he is just trying to be nice. I was taken off guard, and I just said I would let him know. For context, I have seen him this past year, but either he was with his son or I was with my mom. This was my first time seeing him on my own. I wanted to make this post because I was helping get shopping out of the car, and all I could hear was banging on his window. I did not look up, but when my mom got out of the car, it stopped. I feel so anxious all over again, and I do not know what I can say that will make him stop. Thanks for any advice in advance. Edit. I just thought I would give some more information. I was stern and told him no very firmly all the times he came to the house. The time I said I would let him know, I was on the side of the street, not outside my house, so I felt the need to be nicer just because I was going to have to walk a little to get back into the house. I am from the UK just for added information. We have cameras on our house that we added after the first few run ins with him, but he has not come to the house since then. I will try to reply to everyone I can. Thanks for all the replies. I really appreciate it. I am not going to continue to be polite just to spare his feelings and try to maintain what I was trying to convince myself was peace. Thanks again. Kai Online said, The cold hard truth. Tell him your mum is not the only one who thinks he is being a creep, and that frankly, he is making you extremely uncomfortable. That unless he stops, you are going to involve the police. What he is doing is not being nice, it is harassment. You do not have to be nice to people who are a danger to you. To this hippie chick said, I think you have a reason to be afraid and should contact the police. He is continuing this behavior after clear refusals, which is worrying because he does not understand no or boundaries. If he continues after being told to stop, you should seek a restraining order. I am not trying to cause you more anxiety, but you should never let him near you.